Hello, everyone. How are you? It's the Library Love Fest team coming to you on this lovely September day to talk to you about books that may or may not be coming out in the fall. I think we're talking about books that are coming out in the future, which is good. So, hello. I'm Virginia.
I'm Chris. Hey.
And I'm Lainey.
And we are the Library Love Fest marketing team. And we're happy to talk to you about some books. So, before we do that, we want to take a moment to acknowledge the passing of 3 HarperCollins authors, much beloved and greatly missed, and who adored libraries and were very supportive of them. So, we just want to take a moment to mention the passing of Anne Rivers Siddons, Dorothea Benton Frank, and Cokie Roberts. They were all lovely. I'm sure at some point or another, I hope you all got a chance to meet them at one of the many library conferences that they attended. They were all so supportive in so many ways, not just conferences of librarians. They got it. And they left a wonderful mark in the world of books and with us, and hopefully with you. So Dot Frank would, I'm sure, much rather we have a mint julep, but we didn't have time. So we took the beer out of the fridge, as we will do, and but whatever you hold, whether it's a drink or just memories in your heart, here is to Dot, and to Cokie, and to Anne, and we thank them for all of their wonderful words on the page and written and spoken. So thank you very much. How lucky are we to have known them? And on to the books. Who's going first?
Nose goes.
Oh, what does that mean?
Nose goes.
Nose goes?
Classic rules. Okay.
I'll go. Do you want me to go or do you want to go? What's that mean?
Elbow goes.
What's going on? They're pointing to parts of their body and apparently it means something.
It's like my elbow.
All right, I'm not licking your elbow, Chris. I don't know what that means, but I'm not doing it.
I wasn't encouraging. Just putting it out there.
Lick my elbow is a wacky thing that. What does that mean?
That's the title of my children's book.
Oh, this means nothing, but my beautiful, fabulous wife fixed my glasses, which some of you may realize are back together again. I posted them on Facebook, and they were up in pieces, and she stayed up and glued them together. And then parts of them were glued to her hands, and then she had to get them off. Anyway, I'm celebrating Plaid today. She said, it's short-lived. They're going to break again, I know, but whatever. Anyway, okay, I'm going to talk about The Astonishing Life of August March. Look at that fabulous cover. Isn't that wonderful? This book is coming out. It goes on sale in April, so we have tons of time to build up buzz about this book, which is a debut from Aaron Jackson, who is a writer and comedian. He has written for TV as well as being an actor. He was recently a member of the cast member on Comedy Central's The Opposition with Jordan Klepper, and he's been on Broad City, The Detour, Crashing, Funny or Die's Jared and Ivanka, and apparently when he's walking down the street, people go, Ivanka! So that's kind of cool. And so now he's taken this really cool story, and I was talking to his editor about this, and she said, it was really such a great experiment working together and a great process to get this story down, because this book reminds me so much of Be Frank With Me, which I love. Anyway, so this is a debut, as I say, and it is about this young boy he is literally born in the theater. The book opens up, and this woman who is an actress, and she is on stage and comes backstage and gives birth to this baby and puts him in a little hamper basket backstage and goes on her merry way and leaves this poor little thing there because it's not working out for her. And the child is discovered by the woman who works backstage. She's the laundress, and she is old and sort of horrified, but takes this child and she gives him champagne. She gives him some old champagne in a glass. That's his first drink. I know it sounds crazy, But come be frank with me, sounded crazy too. And if you read that book and didn't love it, well then move on, because that's what this is. It's a very peculiar, odd kid, because he grows up in the theater literally, and then he has to sort of make his way in the bigger world. And he's sort of a pickpocket, and he's finding his way in the world, but with this background as his sort of how he started. It's set in post-war New York City. It's compared to Elizabeth Gilbert's book, City of Girls, with that sort of, the goings-on in New York, 1930s, behind the scenes in New York, scene and misfits. And that's what he is. He's kind of a misfit. They say Candide by way of John Irving with a hint of Charles Dickens. That's really what it is, and it's great. And of course there's a love interest, which as he grows older, he develops this, may or may not fall in love with this girl named Penny. But it's really wonderful, and I just love it, and I hope that it's very, very different, very quirky, very odd, and very wonderful. So that is The Astonishing Life of August March by Aaron Jackson. It's not coming out until April, so tons of time, but I want you to know about it now. Thanks.
Okay. Me? Do you want to go? Do you want me to...
Lick my elbow. You can go.
All right.
I don't even know what that means.
That is not the saying. Let's start
What's the
there.
saying? What's the
You
saying?
say nose goes, and whoever's last to touch the nose goes.
Oh, that makes sense.
That I don't know what that is.
Elbow for the
You
fellows.
just made that up.
Your
Right.
elbow for the fellow.
I don't know. What rounds an
Good
elbow?
kids book, though.
You're totally making that up.
All right. So I want to talk about Privilege from Mary Adkins. So this is Privilege. If you haven't read Mary's debut novel, when you read this, stop what you're doing right now and go read it, because it's so amazing. It's a very interesting, it's told in different, there's a note from Kim, because I borrowed this book from her. Kim's just popping up all over this book. This one's a really cool story, a woman who passes away, and she writes this blog post, so it's told through emails and changed. Anyway, so great. Go check this out. But her new book is Privilege. Cool. I don't know.
Yeah, sure.
Mind on that? So Mary was a lawyer, and now she's writing fiction, and so she really knows the law world. And to make her debut into this with When You Read This, it was wonderful. And so I was really excited for this one, and it delivers just as much. I enjoyed it so much. This is a story about a girl named Annie, a girl named Bee, and a girl named Stasia. So 3 young women, going into college, and it's set in the South. Bee is from the Northeast, but she's going... Her and Annie are both going to Carter University, which is the Harvard of the South. It's very prestigious, and they're gonna go and try to, live their new life in university. And Bea is kind of running from her mother's passing away, so she's trying to find herself in that. She's biracial, so she's gonna go into the South and to this school, and she's got a lot of things from her mom and from just living in the South. She's going through a lot. And then you have Annie, who is just not overcoming, but she's coming to terms with this injury when she was a child that left her legs scarred in a way. So she's really deciding that university is going to be the time that she is going to be herself and find herself. And unfortunately, they both come. Bee takes the route of social justice. She thinks she's maybe wants to be a lawyer. She doesn't know. She joins a committee. And Annie... unfortunately, she gets to know this boy that he's just really like the golden boy, kind of frat-tastic is what we would call him. And she unfortunately reports to the administration that she's been sexually assaulted by him. And as she comes to terms with that feeling, because I think Mary does a really good job of showing what's not always cut and dry, what's not always black and white, and how you feel really does matter in that situation. But then Bee becomes his student advocate for his trial, essentially. So 2 girls learning very different things about this boy, and then you have a third girl, Stasia, who is not at college with him. She goes to community college in the same time, but she works on campus, and she gets to know him too. So you see three girls' views of this boy while they're going through all of it. It's really timely, but I think it really is important to talk about the place and setting, because it does happen a lot in colleges and universities, and people who are just on their own for the first time really trying to figure out their life, and it makes a big difference when you're going through this. It's really nuanced. There's a lot of character driven, but also like Mary does dark humor in a way that's really, really, I don't want to say funny because I don't feel like you laugh, but it's just like naming little things that are really oddities that go on, and you're like, yeah, that is kind of funny that happens that way. But Mary herself, I said she was a lawyer, but she's written about campus sexual assault and Title IX for national publication, so she knows this space well, and she just moved to Nashville, so she's got the South information at her fingertips, so she's really saw all of this and taken all of her experience and written this really great novel. So, Privilege by Mary Atkins, and that comes out in March.
All right, I'll talk about a debut novel by a lawyer, an incredibly accomplished one at that. So this is The Coyotes of Carthage by Stephen Wright. Again, this is a debut novel. It's funny when you get these novels that, you know, I'm sure Stephen's been working on this for a while, and it's coming out next April. So we're going to be in full swing, you know, election cycle stuff. And I feel like this novel is just so timely. Like, I just can't believe it's coming out right around that time. So Stephen Wright is a veteran of Obama's Justice Department. He's a lawyer. He now runs the Wisconsin Innocence Project. He's a really, really incredibly impressive guy. But he also has an MFA, and he's putting it to good use with this novel, which basically follows this, his name's Dre, and he's a political consultant who's really worked his way up through the rungs by doing some pretty sketchy, cutthroat things. I mean, he's a political consultant, that's what they do. But he makes a move that basically he took things too far, and he's kind of excommunicated. His boss sends him to this kind of deadbeat town in South Carolina for a job that she feels he's not going to be able to complete, but someone needs to do it, and Dre deserves a punishment. So he's going to South Carolina. And Dre is a black man, and his job essentially is to twist the population of this local community so that they support drilling of these protected areas around their community. And the way he does this, where he manipulates what people think they're getting from this, he enlists the help of a local couple, a white couple. Dre's black, and he's kind of, you know, he doesn't fit in this community, so he has to, again, kind of befriend this couple and then use them to mobilize this community so that they sell this land to be drilled against their better interests. And I think that's what this novel's about, is how does Dre manipulate these populations to vote against their best interests? How does that happen? Because it does happen. But it's a very human story as you follow Dre, and he kind of loses his humanity as he's pushing to get, you know, what his boss wants him to get. It's just so timely and powerful, and again, Stephen knows of which he writes because he's seen firsthand how communities are engaged with politics, and how when communities are rallying behind something, who's really pulling the strings, and really what are their best interests, and are they voting for that? Just a really, really impressive novel. I have this quote from Lori Moore, who's a revered author, wrote Bark and A Gate at the Stairs. This lively, observant novel is a kind of national tragicomedy of manners. Stephen Wright possesses a sly, heartbroken ruefulness towards a large intersection of worlds, a kaleidoscope of race, class, family, work, and the rough and poignant hoopla of our electoral process. Once in a while, an American political novel comes along that is part news, part satire, and everywhere full of jolts and wit. The Coyotes of Carthage delivers all that with brilliance and verve. It marks the arrival of a wonderful new writer. So that's Coyotes of Carthage by Stephen Wright, and it's coming April 14th. So keep your eyes peeled.
Oh!
2 years ago marked the first time that I howled on camera.
Years ago?
It was 2 years ago. We did our special Halloween episode of Under the Radar Over the Moon. It wasn't live at that point. We were wearing green screen cloths, and then it was just our heads floating, and I wanted to howl.
It is the funniest thing. And if you go to YouTube and type in Library Love Fest, you can see it there, because everything that we've done on Facebook Live and all those Under the Radar Over the Moon's Yurams, are there, and it's really funny because that's the first time you howled, not the last.
No, first time I howled on camera. And yes,
that's true. Yeah, that was funny because we did the entire presentation without our. It's just our heads floating, the entire time. We can't use our hands because we're under a drape.
Yeah, like a green drape, so they could edit that out and put us in a cemetery.
It's pretty. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Oh, this crazy video studio of ours.
I was talking about a book today. I went to NYPL for a romance panel, and one of the author's bios, it said, and in her free time, she enjoys looking at weird cemeteries or something. I was like, I love that.
Lainey,
So.
well, you have your whole cemetery.
I know.
Thing.
I don't mind them. My grandmother used to take me when I was little. I told her this. She was like, don't tell people that.
I think that's sweet. You and your
It was
grandma.
for a lot of like heritage and like learning. Yeah. It was interesting.
Do you think it's okay to go to a graveyard if you're not like seeing someone? Is it okay to walk
Yeah,
around?
just be
I
respectful.
was watching Fleabag, which you two were talking about, and she was running in the graveyard. I'm like, that looks nice. I just don't know. Like, is that
running?
okay? Yeah, maybe not running, but like just to walk and be
Who's
there.
going to stop you?
Right. They're gonna be like, I'm gonna stop the person running in the graveyard.
Or grab you by the ankle.
Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it couldn't happen in the future.
Your new book, your children's book, and then this is your
Yeah.
new novel.
Yeah.
Yes.
Lick my elbow and grab my ankle. Hey, but hey, but hey, but hey,
Saucy.
saucy.
Oh.
Speaking of saucy, I don't even know what that means. I'm going to talk about this book because I met this author yesterday, and she's amazing. Dolly Alderton. Everything I know about love, but she crosses out parties, dates, friends, jobs, and life. I love this jacket so much. How fun is that? Can you see it? Once you have a debt. So this woman came into the office, and I had a chance to listen to her. She was interviewed by her editor, Mary Gall. What a wonderful interview! It was just like a conversation that we're just invited to listen in on. It was so terrific. Excuse me, it's the bubbles from the beer. But this is her debut memoir, and she is from the UK, and she is. Okay, wait, hang on. She is a former story producer for Made in Chelsea, and she's the co-host of the High Low podcast. She wrote for Marie Claire and GQ, Glamour magazine, Cosmopolitan magazine. She is in her 20s, and she is so authentic and funny, and makes herself so available. This was a terrific interview, and this is a memoir basically about, what it's like to grow up and grow older. So she talks about everything, about dating, about being dumped, about getting drunk, about looking for work, about life. And I don't feel that this is, having met her and then having looked at this book, and then I was speaking with her agent, and this really is not, this is coming from her point of view, which is a 20-something point of view, but she's so funny, and she's so accessible and available and honest that I just feel like this book resonates. This book can resonate with a lot of different people at a lot of different points in their life. I am not a 20-something. I haven't been for quite some time, and I thoroughly enjoyed meeting her and reading this book. So I think that if you want a refreshing voice to sort of just call things for what they are, just nothing's made up, nothing's sugar-coated. I love that so much. Then you want to read this book, Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. There's a quote from Christian Rupinian, the author of Cat Person. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that last name. But here's a great quote, and it really positions the book. Reading this book is like coming home from a bad date and finding the person who knows you best in the world sitting on your couch, ready to pour you a glass of wine and give you a hug. It's just so wonderful. It's got a lot of heart. It's got a lot of humor. It's very insightful, and it's not always funny. There are definitely moments in here where it's very poignant and can be heartbreaking. But it's just a wonderful look at someone's life growing up, and in a very, very very sort of authentic and honest way. I love that. So that's Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. And I said the High Low podcast, which is massive. So, and it's already been sold into like 20 countries. That says everything. So anyway, that is my book to you. What else do I want to say about it? I should stop talking about it. No, I just want to tell you a few more quotes. Daily Express, poignant, witty, comic, self-deprecating, laugh out loud, lightning quick journey through the years that will resonate with anyone who's ever been young and in love. Check it out. Super fun. Okay, I'll stop. I'll stop because we have more books to talk about.
Okay. Next, I want to talk about The Lucky One, Lori Raider Day. Thank you. So you might know Lori Raider Day. She's an Edgar Award nominated author for Under a Dark Sky.
Loved it.
Yeah, I think she has a really big fan base, and like we're excited for this new one. So she does mystery really well, and in this story, it's about a girl. Her name is Alice. She lived in Indiana when she was younger, and well, first I got to tell you, it's semi-based on a real person. Lori, she was on her podcast. You should check it out. It's a great interview with her editor. But she was saying that she was next door at her neighbor's house. And they're like, oh, yeah, I was kidnapped as a child. And she's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Go back. You are the new person in my novel. Like, so, very small. But that's the premise. So, in this novel, Alice is a little girl. She lives in Indiana. She's taken from her home by somebody. She's kidnapped, and her father, who's a policeman, finds her within 24 hours. So she's totally fine. Nothing's wrong. And they move to Chicago to get away from everything. She grows up, tries to put that behind her. And now that she's older, she spends a lot of time volunteering on a website kind of for amateur sleuths called the Doe Pages, like Jane Doe. And she is on there one day, and she's scrolling through, and a face pops up, and it's the picture of the man who took her. I was presenting this, and I got a gasp from a table once. Thank you. So, but then within a day, it's gone. She doesn't know where it went. So why is he popping up there, and why is he gone? And so she teams up with somebody else who wants some answers and goes after him. So exciting. There's a lot of true crime lovers out there. It's really making a resurgence. If you like true crime, this is a great novel to accompany it. Because, I mean, my first thought was like Michelle McNamara. She's an online sleuth. She was in that community a lot. There are a lot of people like My Favorite Murder. They have a podcast in their network, The Murder Squad, and they really crowdsource all of their information, and they use a lot of internet sleuths. Like, this is really out there, and people want to know more about it. So if you like true crime, go for it. Yeah, and be sure to check out the podcast because it's a great interview. I could listen to her talk all day. So that's The Lucky One.
She came into the office, and I mean, she's been to ALA, and she's just, I don't know, she's got a really cool way about her. You know, she's just, I don't know, she's just got a, she's just an authentic kind of a
She's
person.
super involved in the community too. She heads Sisters in Crime, is that right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, the conversation quickly derailed after the podcast into all true crime, and she's like, I listened to My Favorite Murder, so we talked about that for a long time. So that was cool. But yeah, she's big in that community as well.
Yay.
Kim McGee says, "Need lucky one in my life." Well, maybe
you'll be a lucky
you are
one.
the lucky one. Yeah, there we go.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Are other people listening?
There's
Watching?
people listening, watching,
Really?
commenting.
Why?
Old friends and new.
Who's new?
I don't know. I mean,
Do you get your welcome packet?
welcome
let's
packet.
see. Hello from Vermont, Joanne Earl says. So glad to find you again.
Hello. We're going to be at the New England Library Association, so tune in.
Cheryl Maschiarelli says, just noticed, are those beers? Can I have one? It's almost 5.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Join us.
I know. Usually we're here at like 10:30, so
And we're drinking at 10:30. This feels
Yeah.
weird. I feel like we should be having supper.
I know. We'll order some food. It'll come.
Oh, we should order a pizza and have it delivered while we're doing this. Wouldn't that be hilarious?
Eat some spaghetti.
Oh, I could do with a pepperoni slice right now.
I'm never eating on camera again. So that's you two alone.
Oh my God. All right, so tell the story.
Well, it was a dark and stormy morning, and this is not a year ago. It was earlier the year. We were cooking from recipes. So we had The 7 or 8 Deaths of Stella Fortuna by Juliet Grimes, which came out May of this year. And Juliet put together this little recipe booklet for recipes from the book, because it takes place in Calabria, Italy, so rich cooking history. So there's some select family recipes that Juliet provided us. And we decided to cook from them on Facebook Live and bring them in and taste test them. And one of the recipes was spaghetti sauce that Virginia made. And I was really hungry, and it looked delicious. And while they were presenting books, I was attempting to eat spaghetti on camera on the side. And apparently, people took notes of my struggles eating spaghetti with just a fork and no plate or bowl.
What did people say?
I don't know. I tried to put it out of my memory, but I still have PTSD from.
Was it the whole spoon fiasco and
I got a good ribbon. I got a good ribbon.
But that food was pretty good.
It was good.
Oh, eggplant.
So,
then it got into the whole. Yeah, Chris made eggplant. Lainey made cookies. It was fun.
no one talked about the eggplant. They just talked about
the eggplant was
eating
fabulous.
spaghetti.
That was
great
my
job.
favorite.
It was my favorite for
Thank
sure.
you.
Well,
I need to
cookies.
make that again.
I mean, they're all good, but I think eggplant. I was pleasantly surprised. I don't think I was expecting it to be as, you think you know what you're getting. It was so
Chris
good.
said the key was to squeeze all the water out of the eggplant.
Press it down.
And that recipe book is on our website. So.
Yes, go to Library Love Fest and scroll away.
Robin Spencer.
Maybe type into Google Stella Fortuna Library Love Fest.
Robin remembers. She calls it the episode. I remember the spaghetti episode. I call it the spaghetti incident.
Who said that?
The spaghetti incident. Robin Bierbauer?
Robin Spencer.
Robin Spencer.
Hey, Robin. Thank you for remembering. Now forget.
Then it was really cute, though. Oh my God! All those
as we keep bringing it
all
up.
those crazy videos.
Awesome.
Go to Library Love Fest. You can see them all.
Yeah.
Love YouTube.
I'm gonna talk a book.
Who's going to talk about?
I'm gonna talk a book.
Oh, talk it up.
All right. I am going to talk about a summer title, another debut. So good. I don't have anything to show you. Here's the jacket that does not exist yet, but it will be amazing, and the author photo. I don't have anything. So use your imaginations and just walk along with me. This is The Lightness by Emily Temple, and this is coming June 16th. So, I, for one, did any of you read Girls on Fire, Robin Wasserman? That was one of the first books I read when I started working here. It's about this satanic panic in the 80s, and this young girl who's kind of finding herself. She gets sent to a Jesus camp, and it's just this tumultuous look at kind of teenager life in a crazy community. The Lightness somewhat reminds me of that, but I think it approaches things in a little different way. So this takes place on a Buddhist summer camp for rebellious girls. So it's in this remote kind of camp where girls who misbehave are sent by their parents who have a lot of money but no idea how to handle them. And so you follow this one woman, Olivia, whose father was a Buddhist, and he left her, and she doesn't know where he went. She has a very tumultuous relationship with her mother, which you get into later in the book. But Olivia is looking for a connection with her father, and so she essentially uses her mom's credit card and travels to this Buddhist summer camp, where she meets this very intriguing, mysterious group of 3 girls. I mean, there's a lot of different characters here because these girls are here for a variety of reasons, for misbehaving. But these 3 girls that she meets are kind of they're mysterious, and they do their own thing, and they sneak off at night, and she doesn't know why. And basically you follow this girl as she becomes close with this group of friends, and they are trying to get to the bottom of how you can become so enlightened that you float, that you literally hover in the air. And they're all approaching this with this, religious vindication, and it's almost like this craze to pursue this thing that should not exist, that shouldn't be possible, but they're in the throes of it. They're teenagers, and they're passionate, and they're misunderstood, and they're trying to find order in life. This novel is dark and funny and really smart. I'm just shocked. So Emily Temple weaves ancient myth, fairy tales, Buddhist history. She was raised by Buddhists, so she knows of what she writes there as well. But it's just so smart and fast-paced. Emma Cline, The Girls, I think is another good comparison for this. It's just very smart, but I think it's a big book, and it's a very, what I would consider a cool book. I don't know if that makes sense or not. I just think it's so cool and so smart. Just all the literary references. The narrator, Olivia, is just brilliant. Yeah, I was just so blown away by this novel that I couldn't wait to tell you about it, even if I don't have a jacket yet. It'll be worth it. Look it up. There's some details online right now, and let me know if you want to get it a read, and I'll hook you up as soon as I have something to send you. So, really cool.
What's the pub date?
It's coming out June 16th.
So you guys not up right?
No, not yet. But yeah, Emily's she's brilliant. I was just impressed every page. I'm like, wow, this is a really impressive passage in every single page. She is just brilliant, and she's a senior editor at LitHub. And her short fiction has appeared in various periodicals, but she lives in Brooklyn, so hopefully our paths cross. I'd like to
make it happen.
I'd like to go over this because it's just a fascinating novel.
Do you think he's going over her house?
No, go over it. The book.
Hello.
Might be a little aggressive.
She didn't watch us on Facebook Live. She should have known.
You should have a book club with her.
Yeah.
At her own book.
Buddhist book club.
Ooh.
Oh.
That sounds like an Instagram
Buddhist
handle.
book club.
Yeah, you could really blow up the Instagram game.
Wow, I've been waiting.
You know, I love when all of us get crazy nutty about something. I just love it. You know, like Valentine, I think is your crazy nutty. You know, I mean, I love that because, you know, that's what we're doing. I mean, you guys know about the big authors, but it's these other books that are just so, you know, when they strike a chord, it's just so much fun to talk about them and then to get your feedback and see what you think. So as soon as we have something online, it'll be great to share it.
Yeah. You'll be hearing more from me about this book, I assure you, because it's that good. It's that good. So it's
And follow Buddhist, but no, I'm just kidding.
Buddhist book club.
Buddhist book club.
Buddhist book club.
Soon.
All right. Who's going next? Am I going next? You get it? I'll just touch my nose and still go. Well, this is an author that you do know about, but so much love. Paula Giles. Simon the Fiddler. Oh,
We are not.
We're not worthy.
you're not worthy. Oh my God, we love her. Love her.
Excellent.
Oh, we love. So I'm sorry that I occasionally keep going back into my e-reader because I wanted to read a passage from the book, but I can't find it. It's driving me crazy. But so I'm going to let it go. If I find it later, I'll record myself and read it to you and send it everywhere. Anyway, she's just such a gorgeous writer, and look at that gorgeous jacket. Love. So you all know her. Color of Lightning, Stormy Weather, News of the World, which was a National Book Award finalist, #1 Library Reads pick. Everybody loved it. It was on the best books list. That was in 2016. And so this is set in 1865, and the war between the states is winding down. And you meet Simon Bodlin, I believe is how we're pronouncing his name, and he's a fiddler. He's young in appearance, so he manages to dodge getting dragged into the war. But eventually it does happen. But it's at the end of the war, so he does see a little bit of action on the field. But he manages to see the war to its end and live to tell. He's a fiddler, and he is that's his love, actually. I mean, when you read about him and you know the things that happen when he is at war and he manages to bring his fiddle with him, and they take them out and they put them in some their uniforms and they send them out. He all he's thinking about is where's the fiddle? Is it going to be okay? Because that's his connection. Anyway, the war ends, and he ends up getting into a regimental band. So it's sort of this the story of they are done with the fighting, and now they're going through Texas, and he feels like he's just going to go and make his money this way. He's going to go and he's banded with these other guys who are also musicians, and they actually they play on the eve of the Confederate surrender. He and his bandmates play for officers and their families, and they say to him, "Get us to get paid. Like, see if you can get us to get some money for this gig." And so it's very cool because Paulette Giles is a musician herself. She plays the penny whistle, and I think she plays the guitar. So she knows a lot about music, and she knows a lot about, the half beats, the beats, the rhythm. She knows all that, what key to play in, what key will play with another key, how they will harmonize, and all that stuff, which is very interesting. And so if that interests you, you get that level of information is in this book. But she has really done her research into what Texas was like at this time, right after the war. And so you get to see Galveston, because they're traveling through Galveston, and they're going to make their way, and they steal a boat, and it's so good. Oh, I love this book. It's just so beautifully written. But back when they perform, he and his former fellow soldiers perform for these officers and their families. He spies this woman who's just absolutely gorgeous, and he can't figure out what she's doing there. And it turns out that she is a governess for one of the officers. So he is there, sort of taking care of his wife and child. So, and she has to spend 3 years doing this. So you also learn about sort of these indentured servants, because she's from Ireland, and nobody can speak to her, nobody can take her hand, nobody can really even converse with her. No men can. So this is what she does, just takes care of this kid. But he sees her and is immediately attracted to her, and thinks, well, nobody else can touch her either. Nobody else can have anything to do with her. So I have, she's got to do this for 3 years, and then in the meantime, I'm gonna go make my money by being a musician, and I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna get her. This is what this story is about, and it's so wonderful. And she's just such a beautiful writer. But she gets a piece of history, she learns something. Whole stories start with one character, and then she does that deep dive. Such a responsible writer, and just does her research, and out comes this beautiful slice of history. And she, writes this beautiful novel around facts and historical, things that have taken place. And she's really so wonderful. And so that's at the heart of this book is Simon the Fiddler. He tries to find his way in the world at a time when, history is, the world is turned upside down. And at the heart of this is a love story. So check it out. That comes out in April. And it's available online. So e-galleys are on Edelweiss. And News of the World is being made into a movie with Tom Hanks, which you probably know, but so more on that. But that's Simon the Fiddler. And you're a fan.
I love Paulette Giles. Yeah, I didn't really think I read Westerns. I read News of the World, one of the first books I think I read when I started working here. Yeah. Blew me away, and this completely follows suit. She's so cool though too. She lives in Texas. I think she lives on a ranch, right?
She does. She came to the Texas Library Association. Oh, she's so wonderful.
Yeah, she's great. Just wonderful characters. Just really living, breathing characters that jump from the page.
Can't say enough. I wish I could find the passage because it's so beautiful, but I will find it. All right. It's getting hot in here. It could be the beer, it could be the lights, it could be this flannel shirt.
All three.
Do we have time for one more?
Do it.
All right. I have a really great nonfiction for you, and it's everything I want a good nonfiction to have. Thank you. So, this is The Compton Cowboys by Walter Thompson Hernandez, and he is a rising star. He's probably going to be, hopefully, a household name really soon. He is an LA-based New York Times reporter, but he's done so many other things. It would take me forever to tell you his bio. He's done really cool things, but he's really into telling stories of marginalized people or people on the outskirts, subcultures, and he does this so beautifully in The Compton Cowboys. As soon as they told us about this book, immediately drawn to it. I'm so excited. And so he wrote an article about the Compton Cowboys, and it's online, New York Times, you can read it. But this is a story about these black cowboys in Compton in LA, and I've learned so much about this really small niche group that I had no idea even existed. You should go to their Instagram because they have videos, and it's wild. But so one thing I learned in this book is that African American cowboys go all the way back to the beginning, and they don't really get told about a lot. They don't get as much coverage as regular, so quote unquote regular cowboys do. But these people really went to the West and helped cover it because they had a lot more freedom there after the Civil War, so they could go into the wild and conquer it. And so a lot of them were in this pocket in Compton, and this is continuing this tradition. So a woman created a little, I guess a ranch, a club where children in the area can come ride horses, compete, and it gets them off the streets. It gets them into a community that loves them, and the horses are really good companionship for them. And now she's older, there's a group of boys who have been there a lot of their life, and they're older now, and she's stepping away from it, and so they're going to take it on, and they really want to do well in the rodeo circuit. And so it's just such a beautiful story, and he captures their voice so well. He uses his background as well because he's from LA, and kind of in the margins too. And so I mean, he does really great series. He did one about the black classical musicians of Rio de Janeiro, and I have this quick, sorry, I'm gonna be quick, quote from the book, and I think he just captures his voice so cool. So this is a quote from someone that's talking to him. "They don't pull us over or search us when we're on the horses," Mr. Harris said while riding a dark brown horse named Coda as two police cars slowly drove past him on a recent trip to the store. "They would have thought we are gangbangers or had guns or dope on us if we were riding. They would think that if we weren't riding, but these horses protect us from all of that." And you really get that. They have such a community, and they get a little more, they're on their high horse, if you will. But they're a little higher, and they feel like that gives them a sense of dignity in a way. And that, it proves that a little goes a long way, and you can really make something of yourself. So I love learning something new, and I learned a lot in this one, but also just such a cool group. They have a cowgirl now. You can go on their Instagram and see it.
That's pretty neat.
And that comes out April 28th of 2020.
Wow. So we've given you books that are pretty good heads up, because they're my books are spring, your books are spring. That's great. Yeah. And you got a summer one there.
Yeah, we're on it.
So are you good? Are you done? I'm done. Are you done?
I have one more book
to
tell you about, so I can complete my trio of debuts. Lakewood by Megan Giddings. So our Amistad imprint, which focuses on Black authors and their stories, they are just putting out a lot of incredible fiction and nonfiction. They kind of revamped with our Harper One imprint that they're under. So now Amistad is putting out a lot of different fiction, and this in particular, Lakewood by Megan Giddings, which I actually have a galley. There you go. Oh, thank you. So this is the first novel. Megan, again, this is her debut. She lives in Indiana. I believe she got her MFA from Indiana University. I only bring that up because I'm from Indiana, so who's your connection? But this is her debut novel, and it's kind of doing what Medical Apartheid by Harriet Washington and The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks did. Now, those are nonfiction tales. This is the first book from a Black woman's perspective on medical experimentation on African Americans, but it's a novelized account of that, and it's a contemporary novel. But again, through this fictional story, I think she just shines a light on kind of how Black women are treated in society. And again, this is a real thing as far as medical experimentation goes. But the story follows Lena, who's a millennial. She drops out of school to support her family and is moving back home, and she ends up in this town, Lakewood, Michigan, where she discovers that there is a job that seems too good to be true. She signs up. It's a medical experimentation job where you get paid and you kind of submit yourself to the whims of these doctors. And she doesn't really know what she's getting into, but she quickly finds out what's happening here and what's happening in this community of Lakewood. It's terrifying and resonant, and I think Lena's voice is just so well captured. Megan's a very talented author, and I think this frames it well. Part The Handmaid's Tale, part The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks. Yeah, I think.
Good combo.
Yeah, right, and it's it's again modern but just very smart and unique. Just a really strong book. And yeah, I highly recommend you check it out. It's coming, March 24th. That's Lakewood by Megan Giddings. Really cool jacket too. So, yeah, highly recommend. They also list Jesmyn Ward, who's a brilliant author, as kind of a comparison. So if you loved Jesmyn Ward, Megan Giddings, next read. Highly recommend.
It's really taught.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh my God, this person is going in for all this because she needs the money.
Yeah, it's just like what you're pushed to, and then yeah, it's terrifying. So
it is, but it's really, really good.
Yeah, and I think again, Own Voice is someone who just writes so genuinely. It's very smart, and that's necessary. Really cool. So that's it for moi.
Yeah. I think we're good. I think we covered a lot, and I don't know. Are there any questions? No.
People just remembering this spaghetti. Paulette Giles people asking about Paulette Giles. As far as eGalley availability, it is on.
It's available.
It's on Edelweiss, and I think it'll be up on NetGalley soon. And then we're waiting on Paper Galleys.
Very soon.
Very soon. Yeah.
So.
The end of this month.
Within
So which is almost over. Oh my God.
So.
Yeah. Oh God, she's great. Yeah, so you know what? And don't forget Library Reads. Get your votes in.
Yeah, no, that was it. I agree. Yes.
So next month we're going to do a Halloween.
Yeah.
I don't know, I just made that up.
Also, a little sneak peek. Next week, our podcast is a little spooky themed.
Ooh.
Our musings.
Oh, yes. Oh my God, yes. Check it out.
And how many ants do you have? I have an ant. And Lainey and I will be on Facebook Live next week for the Maine Library Association conference. We'll be beaming in, so if you want to join us, it's on Tuesday.
Yep, because we leave Wednesday. So
yes,
Tuesday.
They're going to be eating lobster.
Yes, on camera.
Oh, okay.
So it's the Maine Library Association. Wait.
Yeah, so the Maine Library Association takes place next week. We can't go to Maine, unfortunately, yet, even though that state's amazing. So we're going to be beaming ourselves in virtually via Facebook Live. So we'll be here under the TV, Lainey and I. And
but anybody can watch, so you guys should check in. There'll be a whole bunch of different books. I will be on vacation.
We'll miss you.
I'll miss you guys so much, but...
We'll bring your bobblehead.
Okay, yes, bring my bobblehead. All right, so this wraps it up. Thank you so much for checking in. And quack, quack. Have a great day, a great month, and we'll be back in touch soon with another list of fabulous books.
Toodles.
Bye.